Listen very carefully and follow my instructions. Prepare your brain for the Cortex Labs Nootropics podcast.
I gotta tell you, being an entrepreneur, I will not go through the rest of my career without taking nootropics. Aniracetam, piracetam, modafinil, Nupec, uridyl monophosphate. I mean, phenylpiracetam, forget it. You could always have a better brain.
The Cortex Labs Nootropics podcast is about to begin.
Welcome to episode number 86 of the Cortex Labs Nootropics podcast. I am your host, Ryan Michael Ballo. Going to take a quick sip of water. That's one of the things that's great about this podcast is I don't edit anything, man. It's just like it all comes out. It's all like real, and like even if something like my PlayStation makes a loud noise or something, or if a large truck drives by, it's just all in the podcast. So I think you guys enjoy that. In this podcast, we're going to talk about one of the strongest racetam compounds there are. It's called phenylpiracetam, and I think that what people have been giving me a lot of feedback about the content we've been putting out lately, the theme of content we've been putting out lately is that we've been putting content out that is sharing users' experiences, right? Because I think that's one of the biggest things that allow people to fill themselves in on what spectrum of effects to expect on nootropics, and the variability between certain nootropic compounds and certain people, and as well as like how certain nootropic compounds facilitate things we want, like productivity. People have been really happy with that lately. Like man, your podcast, like on the experiences people had with X compound made me want to try it, and now it's changed my life. And so we're gonna be doing a lot of that kind of stuff moving forward. And I think that's like a really cool way for us to creatively create content, and for you folks to have other people's experiences in mind. So we're gonna talk about phenylpiracetam, but first we got specials on product number one, the Cortex Nootropic Stack. On sale for $28 right now using the coupon code 5, F-I-V-E. That'll take what's being called the only pre-made nootropic stack that works down to $28. I mean, significantly strong stack. If you haven't tried Cortex, you'll love it. Just buy a bottle. Just pull the trigger on it. Go to livecortex.com right now on your phone while you're listening to this. Buy a bottle. Enter that coupon code F-I-V-E 5 and go to town, because that thing is going to make you perform. If you get Cortex or have been getting Cortex, now's a good time because we're running specials on it, okay? If you need my help personally, we have a consulting service on nootropics. It's a 40-minute Skype call with me. Basically, people just drill me with questions or have me help them figure stacks out that turn their brains on. And if you're new to nootropics, we wrote a book that you need to read. It's called Smarter, Better, Faster. It's like the number one book on the web for nootropics to teach you how you should use them and what stacks to take. Basically answers every question anybody could ever have about it going into it. Okay, that's digital. It's called Smarter, Better, Faster. Get that at livecortex.com. So on Nutriment.com, Nutriment, which is like a pretty large, one of the largest like blogs on like nootropics and focus and mood and longevity, bodybuilding, they have weight loss and sexual health stuff on here. That also like sells supplements. There's an article, it gets called Phenylpiracetam Experiences, 60 User Reviews, and then it goes Results and Side Effects. So I just want to read a bunch of these to you and kind of talk about what I think of them to offer you guys some good information. Number one, honestly, I have yet to find a better nootropic for focus. I do feel like some tolerance builds up, but never loses its full effectiveness. What can I say is that if I use it occasionally, it seems like the duration is... what I can say is that if I use it occasionally, it seems like the duration is longer. That's my experience too. I have noticed a little bit of tolerance with phenylpiracetam, but it doesn't... it's not significant. It still actually like maintains its efficacy in providing nootropic benefits. And it is absolutely one of the best nootropics I've ever taken for focus besides oxiracetam. All right, number two. Yeah, nothing else really comes close. Although I felt some effects from oxiracetam, but it's a distant second. I wouldn't take it more than once a week, although people do say you can take it daily, as the actual benefits of it are far more than just the stimulatory effects. It's the effects that you can feel. The first couple of times I took this stuff were the greatest, but I've never been able to repeat it. I'd be interested in learning what the permanent change is and if it can be reversed. Now that brings up a whole nother topic and opens up a whole nother can of worms about this, which is like basically what he's referring to is receptor tolerance, brain neurotransmitter receptor downregulation. And when you blast a particular chemical, in this case acetylcholine, to the brain's receptor sites for that chemical, then yeah, it starts to essentially build up a tolerance, kind of like, with caffeine. The only way you reverse the caffeine tolerance is you stop taking it for a while. You stop drinking coffee, and then you drink it again, and woo, it's back, and you're energized from the coffee, and that's kind of just how it works. And really, aside from trying to take other compounds that might modify receptor sites to try to undo tolerance, taking a break and cycling is the most ideal way to do that. Next one, I had a similar experience where I loved it at first, but couldn't repeat the experience. However, it was also way too intense at first. One day I worked a 14-hour productive day and then couldn't sleep. I've gotten some of the efficacy back by playing with the dose, going down until I found the sweet spot for me, which is 75 to 100 milligrams daily, and how much food and fat I take with it. Now I take it 1 time a week, and it's definitely my favorite stimulant. So again, that kind of brings up again another look at the tolerance deal. This person is using it effectively. That's like what we write in Smarter, Better, Faster, and that's what we teach people when we consult them on nootropics. It's just like you have to cycle and you got to take time off. The biggest mistake you can make with nootropics is thinking that they're coffee and that you can take them every single day and it's going to get the same effects. It just is not a reality. So you have to understand that. All right, next one. If you take it with some caffeine, like 100 milligrams or less, it seems for me to amplify the effects back to how they were. It's weird, but I hardly feel the caffeine, and I hardly use caffeine. But with phenylpiracetam, it makes the phenylpiracetam last or like twice as strong. So there you go. There's somebody who basically runs into a tolerance with phenylpiracetam, but then takes 100 milligrams or so, or a little bit less of caffeine with it. And then it amplifies the effects back to kind of, from when the first time they took phenylpiracetam. Next one. Phenylpiracetam is great, but I have to watch my dose. I usually take 30 to 50 milligrams, a small dose for most people. I can get kind of manic from it and easily frustrated with people who get in my way of completing whatever task I'm doing. Overall, it has its place in the rotation. Another super insightful, super wise way to look about it. To look at phenylpiracetam and nootropics in general. Yes, first of all, definitely certain choline affecting or acetylcholine modifying nootropic compounds will make you feel frustrated at people, particularly people that are slow. The biggest example for me in that is I remember taking aniracetam one day, and I was in the grocery store, and just God, everybody was moving so slow. People in front of me, I literally had to just slightly push people aside because I could not wait for them. Folks were walking around in slug mode. My brain is working so efficiently, via this racetam that I was geez, everybody's just and it got me mad. And no question, in other times when I've taken nootropics, these type racetams or choline affecting nootropics, I've absolutely had a shorter fuse and have had less patience with people and just kind of am a jerk and want to just get work done. Okay, maybe not great for personal relationships, absolutely great for productivity. Next one. Phenylpiracetam and phenibut is a nice combo. Confidence like you wouldn't believe. You'll walk so tall, and with confidence you'll feel like you're 6'5" tall. Friendly, flirty. If you're in a job interview, you're like, I got this. I usually take them on an empty stomach, except a couple squares from a chocolate Hershey bar. That's interesting. Might be my imagination, but chocolate seems to blend with it. Chocolate is kind of magical in its chemical properties, Maybe. Maybe we know there's a stimulant in chocolate called theobromine, and so probably that's why it blends well. That's probably just a chemical thing, not your imagination. But that's something to, for other folks to think about too. Hey, awesome new strategy. Take some chocolate with your phenylpiracetam. Boom. Next one. Phenylpiracetam crosses the blood-brain barrier and is a mild DRI due to that. I'm not sure what he means by DRI. I'm trying to think of what that acronym. The mild DRI effect is what causes the stimulation. Oh, dopamine reuptake inhibitor. That's what that is. And there was a study that indicated that phenylpiracetam could have some dopamine reuptake inhibition properties, which will basically give you more dopamine flowing around for your brain to use, which will give you stimulation and make you motivated. That's very interesting. I once took phenylpiracetam on an empty stomach and got a bit paranoid hearing sounds and such. Okay, so those of you know, I'm not just trying to highlight the good ones. Here's kind of a bad one. Went away after I ate a bit, though. I can see how it can get some people loopy, especially in high doses. A buddy of mine took it for almost a year straight without many breaks, and nowadays he says if he takes it, he might just catch a nasty panic attack. Piracetam worked great for him, though. Yep, well, that is a perfect illumination of why you should not take phenylpiracetam or any nootropic for a year straight. Next one, phenylpiracetam is one of the most physically stimulating nootropics. You're not going to find very many products like it, and yes, you'll develop a tolerance. Sorry to be the Debbie Downer, but you're probably not going to feel this way after a week or so. Very stimulating drugs like phenylpiracetam, ephedrine, modafinil, etc. can have a sprinkle of euphoria that feels very motivating. It stops being so noticeable after a few consecutive days of use. The nootropic honeymoon period. Yeah, great. I mean, another great illumination of exactly how nootropics work, which again, it's like, you got to drill it into your head to cycle these things appropriately so that you don't run into those problems. Here's a long one, and this will be the last one. I took phenylpiracetam every day for the past 3 months, and I wanted to share my experience. Phenylpiracetam is the best mood-enhancing nootropic I've tried by far. The main reason I'm taking this one every day is because it made me feel like I can achieve everything I want. I feel like I'm at the top of my world while on it. It also gives you a clean energy and a bit of focus. It has a great anxiolytic effect. I'm in a stressful environment every day. I own a small one-man software consulting company, and the mood booster effect of phenylpiracetam transforms my everyday stress into usable energy, which makes me do more stuff done more quickly. Honestly, I'm not even sure I'd be motivated to write this post without being on phenylpiracetam right now. Guy goes, his dose is 100 milligrams. I increase it to 200 milligrams sometimes, but 100 milligrams is the sweet spot for me. That is awesome. I mean, that is one of the because we did this thing on the Nootropics, the Cortex Life Nootropics YouTube channel, where we just sort of talked about how there's many reasons why people take nootropics, and motivation, like the motivation to want to do work and to kind of feel like you can achieve anything, is one of them, right? Because all that has to do with brain chemicals anyway, right? So I mean, it is really awesome that we can take legal compounds, right, like in reasonable doses, and get to a point where our capacity to be productive is better. That's what's so exciting and alluring about nootropics, and that is an incredible anecdotal. Okay, so thanks so much for listening, everybody. That has been episode number 86 of the Cortex Labs Nootropics podcast. Hope that's been useful for you folks. A lot more of that kind of stuff to come. I've gotten your emails, and I've gotten a couple people actually that called our business number and left messages on it and said, hey, I want that. I've gotten reviews that said, hey, we really like when you talk about people's anecdotal experiences, because that opens up a lot for folks to understand what is going on in the experiences of other people relating to particular compounds. And specifically, it helps people understand how to not get bit by nootropics, like how to not run into side effects, and then how to navigate the waters of tolerance with certain compounds, so that ultimately people end up on the wavelength and the strategic position of how to cycle appropriately, which is the best way to use nootropics. Okay, so remember, specials on our stuff, livecortex.com. You want to try nootropic, we got a powerful nootropic stack. It's called Cortex. It's exceptionally strong, used by corporate people. There's poker players in the poker communities around the world, in Vegas and in PA and Atlantic City, that use the Cortex stack to focus. It's this crazy thing that became a hit within the poker community. So a whole bunch of people use the Cortex stack, nootropics experimenters, corporate folks that just want to get stuff done. It is a kick you in the butt, get you to be productive kind of stack. Very motivating, very verbal fluency inducing. It's just an incredible stack. Get the Cortex stack at livecortex.com. Again, if you use the coupon code 5, you can save some money on it, taking it down to $28. That's cheap. Pull the trigger. Go buy it. You'll love it. If you need my help personally on anything related to nootropics, we have a service for that. It is a 40-minute call with me. It's a Skype call, and 15 additional email correspondences to help you figure out stacks that work well for you, or to help you answer questions about nootropics, basically whatever you want. And if you're new to nootropics, you're brand new, or you're within 1 to 2 years, we wrote a book for you. It's called Smarter, Better, Faster. It's the #1 book on nootropics right now on the planet and on the web. And it teaches you everything, and it gives you my personal stacks, shows you how to cycle, and gives you a lot of experiences. I mean, it's basically the most informative nootropics book on the planet as far as I'm concerned. Get that. It's digital at livecortex.com, so you can download it and start reading it right away. Smarter, Better, Faster is an awesome downloadable stack-filled nootropics book. And that's it, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. Like us on Facebook if you would. Facebook.com/Cortex Stacks is our URL. Head over there, press like. We post a lot of content there, and awesome pictures of stacks that I'm taking, and a bunch of other cool stuff. Until next time, my friends, thanks so much for listening.